Welcome to Come Back with Erica Cobb, your bonus episode, Conversations with my sister, Ebonie. Hey, Ebonie.
How's it going?
It's going, it's going. So we are actually doing a part 2 of Summer House Martha's Vineyard, which of course is on Bravo. You can binge the entire season. It's a short season because it's the premiere season. And this was just a house full of Black excellence. So let's get started on that theme because we're basically just giving our thoughts about what we saw, our thoughts and feels. Last week's episode, we broke down all of the cast members and our thoughts about them. So I thought there were some points that we could talk about. So let's start with the Black excellence conversation because everyone kept saying it, especially Jasmine, like, I respect you, black man. I respect you, black man. I respect you, black man, and you, black man. You know I love you, black man. I really am not trying to come for Jasmine. I think it's a teaching opportunity. But Preston chimed in and said that he doesn't believe in the term black excellence. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it was kind of tough to listen to Preston at times because I'm like, all right, here we go. Like, it'd be like a very lighthearted moment, and he just like turned it into a very, very serious moment. But I got where he was coming from with that. Like, it's always categorized as like why can't we just be excellent? Was pretty much what he was trying to get to, and I get it. It's like, but also, why can't we just be excellent? Like, there's a reason behind where that term came from, so I get where he was coming from, but I felt like in that moment with that group, not exactly the correct tone to come off with. As in, like, that's something I want to teach somebody else. Like, I wouldn't, for this group of black people, like, yes, like, we're going to say this internally, yes, black excellence. But, like, if there was someone of a different race being like, oh, you're black excellence, I'd be like, wait, no, I'm just excellent. Like, to you, I'm excellent. Like, no. So I feel like I got where he was coming from, but I feel like for that group, I feel like they were having this, like, black experience, and he was like, no. Like, that's how I felt about it.
See, I thought he was referring to black excellence in terms of hierarchy. Like, you can only be excellent if you are, in the 1%, or, if you've achieved something like, a college degree or master's program, like that it's always kind of like qualified through like education or money or status. And I was taking it as his point was there's other ways to be black and excellent. So why don't we just call it like, not branded that way?
Yeah.
And I thought it was an interesting conversation. It wasn't something, I wasn't offended by it. I could understand where he was coming from. It might have been a bit too nuanced for the drinking summer vacation home. But I was there for it. I was there for that conversation. I will continue to say black excellence. I think at a certain point, like even he was saying black excellence, and I think ultimately we can define what that means to us. So I wasn't mad at that conversation.
No, I think the setting was a little off, but yeah, no. Like, there was a time to have that, and they were literally playing a drinking game. So, so like, it's like, we're going to get serious in the middle of this drinking game. Okay. Couldn't do this at breakfast, but okay. All right.
Okay, so what are your thoughts, and since you aren't a pet owner, on someone sharing a space with you who brings their pet and they don't give you a heads up that the pet is coming first?
I'm not a pet owner. I have friends who are pet owners who travel with their pet, or, sometimes get in situations where, like, hey, I want to come, but I can't get a dog sitter. And the thing is, it's like, if you tell someone and you have that conversation and you're like, hey, this is a situation, I have a dog, this is my emotional support animal, is it okay if I bring it? If not, I'm not coming. Like, just lay it out there. Like, no one should just open up a door. It's like, open up a door and you brought 3 people with you. Like, all right, well, I wasn't expecting this. Especially, like, you're in a guest house. There's rules to this. Like, did you make sure that it was okay to bring the dog? Like, there's certain things that come with it. Like, there's a deposit usually when you bring a dog. But also, like, you're bringing a dog. We're leaving. We're not going to be in the house all the time. You bring the dog with you, which she did, which I give her credit for. But, like, still, that's still, like, it's disrespectful if someone invites you somewhere and you bring a guest with you without giving any types of heads up of, like, hey, this is what's happening. Let me know if this is going to be an issue. Otherwise, I won't come. But that's very selfish to do.
Yeah, we have a small dog, little Spike. And Spike, a lot of times, will travel with us. And there have been shared house situations. When we were in Tahoe, didn't we bring Spike to Tahoe?
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were in Tahoe, we had a shared house, and we brought Spike. And it was, we asked, first of all, it was during COVID too. So there wasn't a ton of options or things. But it was like, hey, can we bring Spike? And accommodations were made because, one, you just don't know if people are comfortable with dogs, even if they are very small. And I do think I'm very sensitive to the idea of people thinking just because a dog is small that automatically means that he's harmless or people aren't going to be scared of him. So I never assume just because I have a tiny little he's not a toy dog, but he doesn't look menacing, okay? But there are people who have, a lot of fears of dogs. So you really have to be careful with that. And I didn't think that was cool for Bria to bring Milo like that. But once it became clear that no one was very fearful or allergic to Milo, obviously we love Milo. So I love having a dog there. I think dogs are like little mascots for shared homes.
But I think that set the tone for Bria though. That's literally how Bria was for the rest of the show. Yeah, I'm bringing my boyfriend. Yeah, I'm doing this. There was no hey, thanks for inviting me. Do you mind if she technically did ask about Simon, but that's a little murky. But that was her throughout the whole show. It was I'm gonna do this. No, this is what is happening, and I'm I'm gonna be intrusive and then be mad when people are intrusive towards me. And that felt like that set the tone of her walking in with a dog and not saying anything and being what's the big deal? It's my emotional support dog. It's hey, we just would have liked a heads up. And that was kind of her thing throughout the whole show.
Yeah. No, I understand that, but it was really good TV. It is, why are we watching if we don't have a Bria? Bria to me is she's a perfect reality television show character because she has the perfect amount of delusion mixed with selfishness, mixed with highs and lows, mixed with funny moments. There's this self-deprecating quality about her, and she's very much I'm not here for a long time, I'm here for a good time, and she's unapologetic about it. And I think that's really what makes a great reality TV star, especially in that role. There's other people who have to play the straight man and the person who has to keep story moving, but she fits that, and I think that was great. We talked last week about Simon, her boyfriend, coming in from Germany, buying everyone watches, the reaction of the table to allowing him to stay now that everyone had a watch. So was there anything else about that dinner that stood out to you?
No, I'm really still stuck on the watch thing. I'm stuck on the watch because I felt like he came in as this savior complex, and I did not like that. That's why I did not like him. He came in, and it was leading up to it when they were at the bowling alley, and she was asking, well, if Simon were here, what would he do? And she's he'd be buying everyone drinks. And I'm that's what you want to talk about your boyfriend, not oh, he'd be bowling or we'd be talking or da-da-da-da. No, he'd be paying for everything. And I'm okay, so now we get the dynamic of this relationship. You're on TV, he has a suspect job, you guys are trying to do this whole influencer thing. That's how I felt from it. Because, then he comes in, obviously trying to portray all this wealth and, paying people off with watches and showing up in the fancy car and, saying all these things.
It was a Corvette.
Was it a Corvette?
Yeah.
I thought it was a Ferrari.
I thought so too, but then Anthony was no, it was a Corvette. So then I rewound it. I was that is not a. I was oh,
I thought it was a Ferrari. I thought it was a Ferrari.
There's nothing wrong with the Corvette. I mean, our dad has a Corvette.
Yeah, he does. He really does.
No, but I mean, that's what I think of when I think of a Corvette. I think of our dad has a Corvette.
I'm going to be honest, Corvettes slowly dying. It was the age of a person who has a Corvette's 60 and up. It's not if you have a Corvette and you're under 60, hey, I'm not hating on you.
It's a beautiful thing.
I take RTD. It's all good.
My car is 10 years old, okay? I'm not a car snob at all.
I'm not. It's just something about my father having one that kind of makes it less cool to me.
Yeah, I literally drive a 10-year-old mom-mobile, and it makes me so happy. So yeah, it works. Anyway, I see. Here's the thing, and we already talked about the watch thing, but what initially I was kind of really here for the Simon and Bria night because it was a party that I would have thrown. It was a dinner party I would have thrown. I was very excited about this because they really thought about the guests. Like everything they had the chargers, they had the plates, they had like all the glassware out, everything. I think they even had place cards for everyone. It was in a beautiful room. It was very well thought out. Everyone who showed up was thought about. I thought that was enough. The watches were overkill to me. Okay. Is there a moment you wanted to talk about on the show?
Let me think about it for a second. I want to talk about the Mariah thing again because I'm not over it. Like, I just feel like with Mariah, she came in and I feel like she had a past that was like very tough.
Yes.
And like you could tell she overcame. Like we were talking about last week how Alex like was toxic adjacent. I feel like Mariah was like completely out of that zone and was like, hey, this is I'm healing, I'm continually healed, but like I feel like she just knew she made so much progress. And like she was just so at peace with things and very in her own zone and not letting things bother her that like when one bad thing happened, everybody was just ready to abandon her, and like that hurt my soul.
Yeah, it did.
Like,
it came. Yeah, keep going. I understand.
Like that's it. Like it just hurt my soul because I was like, I felt like she was like, hey, you know what? It happened. I was in the wrong, but like I'm not that person anymore. And like I felt like a lot of times she just got disregarded. Like whatever she did, everyone was kind of like, oh, whatever. So like I think part of it was like she started just falling behind. She wasn't going out with them anymore.
Yeah.
She was kind of doing her own thing at one point. She seemed content about doing her own thing. She was talking to her son when they left. Like she just felt very okay with like, okay, this is not what they're doing isn't what I want to be a part of, but I want to bring them into my world real fast, and they disregarded it. And that's what got me. I was like, I even thought Homeboy was Amir, what's his name? Amir? I thought Amir would at least be like, hey, I'm going to sit back, or even Alex. Like, I thought one of the two of them.
I thought Alex, for
Yeah,
sure.
I thought one of the
because
two of
Alex
them.
was so
Yeah.
into those things.
One or two of them were going to, like, sit back and be like, nah, I want to participate in this. And it was just, like, really disappointing to see that, like, everyone else threw things and everyone attended and participated, and she did it, and like within a minute, like couple minutes, everybody just left, and I was like, that's rude, but also like she deserved better than that house, honestly.
Yeah. This is how it read to me. It read to me like this is clearly a house full of leaders, but even when you have a house full of leaders, there can be a like herd mentality, and Mariah was very quickly othered. Yeah. And it was almost like there can be a tendency in ensembles that when someone is othered, then they're automatically pushed out because there's an idea that like they're not lowering your stock, but like if they're going left and everybody else is going right, then it's holding up the progress of where they want the ship to go. But this is a startup franchise, so there isn't necessarily a direction that the ship is going to go. And seeing that, honestly, that episode did knock down the respect peg just a little bit, because there is a lot of value just thinking of it from a production standpoint. There's a lot of value in the diversity of that cast, and I thought that cast was... it was cast very well thought out in a well thought out way, and there was a need for a Mariah. So the idea that she would get so quickly kicked off the show for pushing, and I mean, of course, no one wants to be touched.
Yeah. I
don't think it was the way that Jordan demonstrated to Jasmine, who, when Jordan was pushing her in the middle of the street, touched. It was a boundary, but I felt like that was a boundary that could have been like, hey, so what you did was really inappropriate, and do not put your hands on me.
Yeah. There could have been a conversation, but instead it got blown into this whole thing, and it was just like, I think there could have been a conversation, and if I invited my best friend that I suckered into moving to New York, and then we end up living in a car, and now we're both trying to be screenwriters or whatever, but my best friend actually got a real job as a nurse, like, and I'm sitting here obeying my husband. I just feel like if I were to get in that type of situation, I would at least say, hey, you know what? Can you guys talk real fast? Do you mind if I pull you aside and we have this moment? I would do something to make sure that there's some closure, at least on that end, of understanding what happened between the two. But instead, it was that herd mentality where it was like, I want to do this shit, blah, 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 this way, and you just abandoned your best friend. and like just kicked her out and went with the group instead of being like, I invited her. I know where she comes from. I know her. Like best case, like worst case scenario, we still let her go. At least let's discuss it and like keep her in a loop of what's going on. Instead, they had that quiet meeting and they voted her out. Like they never even let her know that the meeting was happening. Like she was in the other house and they let her go. So I'm like, in that end, I just feel like as a friend and you call that your best friend, you are not my best friend. You are someone I do not know, and probably I don't know if they hang out anymore. I wouldn't hang out with you anymore. Like you changed, show me.
Well, in the confessionals, Mariah kind of alluded to this was something that she needed to know about basically her friend group.
Yeah.
So, or her friends, and I think that was very telling. I think that I wonder how many of them, and maybe at BravoCon, I'll ask this question. I will ask this question if who regrets having Mariah kicked out, because I really do feel like a lot of people feel the same way that you and I do.
I'm curious how their relationship was once Jasmine got married. I'm curious what that dynamic was, because I'm also like I'm curious if like they were like still tight, or like what that relationship was like once like she got married. Because I feel like part of like when Mariah left, it kind of alluded towards like, okay, like it was like a little bit too calm instead of being like, hey, like friend, what happened? There was none of that. It was kind of just like, no, I know where you're coming from. Like I've seen the change in you. Like, and she just kind of left, and there was no like back and forth. So I'm really curious of like once Jasmine got married, if she switched up on that friendship as well. Because I mean, we can tell she switched up. So
yeah.
So I'm like, did she switch up on her best friend that was living in the car with her too?
What about Jordan and her 1 year of celibacy?
Yo, date yourself.
Yeah.
Support it.
I really wanted to know more about that journey, and not to be like into the details of, you know, the journey of what got her there, but like kind of like the prevailing notions of the things that how she got there, what that experience was like, you know, consciously doing that, and also what's the philosophy behind it, like what was the intention behind it, because clearly there had been some things that had happened and they were traumatizing to her. And I think it's always great when you're in a space that you can quote date yourself or commit to celibacy. But I kind of wanted to know a little bit more about that journey, because I felt like between that and her constantly saying like, I'm more than just a Playboy bunny, that was intertwined some way, and she was, you know, vocalizing a lot of her trauma.
Yeah. I mean, when she had that one night where like she snapped off on both Alex and Amir, I think it kind of came out a little bit that she was just like, I stopped treating me like I'm a possession. And I think I can't speak to what was going on with her, but I just feel like it had like something to do with all that coming together. Like she's older now. I think it's just, I don't know. I can't speak to her, so I don't want to say anything that's completely out of pocket. But like I think it had a lot to do with, I think, maybe just her discovering herself and just being like, this is who I am alone, and I don't want to be a possession or something. Because like she kind of said, like, you guys are making a competition out of me. You guys are like saying who's got what, and they were. But it's like she's a person, not not a trophy. Like, you know, she has a personality. She's smart. She is beautiful. But like, dude, like, don't treat her like a trophy is really what it's coming down to. Like, she's not a possession of yours. It's not something you're going to get to own. So I think it was a lot of that. Maybe that was what she had in the past. I don't know. Where she just is like, this is me, and like discovering herself. I don't know.
Well, I really want to kind of talk about casting for season 2, since it has been announced that there will be a season 2. So let's quickly go through the cast again and say, should they show or should they go? You ready?
All right. Do I have to give a reasoning?
You just say show or go. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Jordan.
Show.
Bria.
Show.
Jasmine.
Go.
I'm going to say go too. Sorry, Jasmine. Amir.
Show, because I need food.
Amir does cook a lot. Amir is a definite show, and also Andy Cohen loves him some Amir. Okay.
I wonder why.
Yeah, they were. Him and Brie were on Watch What Happens Live, and yeah, Mimir is going to be a staple. Shanice.
No, go.
I think Shanice should show.
Wait,
I think
Shanice
Shanice stays.
was
She's the one who got naked all the time.
Oh yeah, she's staying. She's staying.
Oh
My
yeah,
bad. My bad. My bad. Yeah.
Shanice is a show. Nick.
Unfortunately, go.
Yeah, he's go. I'll take his girlfriend though. Alex.
Show.
I think show as well. Jason.
I would like to show, but it's gonna be a go.
I feel the same way, but I think it was a great opportunity for him, and he needs to capitalize on that because he seems like a sweetheart.
Yeah, I don't want to see him in this drama.
Yeah, yeah. Summer.
Drama Summer.
Summer is Hillary Banks.
Oh yeah, she was just that alone go. If I have to ask, go.
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna say go for Summer too, but she is so adorable.
It's nothing that I feel like my goals, with the exception of Jasmine, have been like, you don't. It's reality TV, it's drama, and you're just too good of a person. Sorry.
Mariah. Obviously, she was gone already, but would you want her to come back?
I would love for her to come back and have a redemption arc.
I
think
agree with that.
I want to say show, but I think she could do better. I love you, Mariah.
Yeah. I'm going to bring her back too. I'm going to give her a redemption arc. Preston.
I'd say go.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we need Preston. Preston is our straight guy. Like, no. I know. I meant like
he's our straight. Did I get that wrong?
No, he's our Preston. Yes, Preston is our queer black lead. But he's our straight character. You know, like he's the straight man.
Yeah. No, I get that. But also, it's like he just wasn't really bringing much outside of that. Like, no drama. I'm thinking in terms of reality TV.
Yeah, well, not everybody needs to bring the drama, though. If I want Preston to come, but I also want him to bring his boo, because I was happy we got introduced to his boo.
Okay.
Okay, and Silas.
Get the out of here. You can take him, his extra muscles, his tight tank tops and shirts, and just pack it up and go. No. No.
Okay, well, Silas is a go. Okay, so I am excited for season 2. I'm hoping that it's longer than 15 days. I really think that it will be.
I don't think it needs to be.
I think it should be, because the other summer houses are longer, although it's not like necessarily a continuous thing. I think that there's an opportunity to really define this franchise as an individual entity, and I'm excited about that. Would you change anything about like the setup, or what would you like to see different next year?
Like them actually like exploring the island, like actually like showing the history of it, because I feel like that's what I came into thinking was gonna happen a lot more. It was like, this is a very historically black place, and I feel like there was a lot of places, like they kind of did a little bit, but like they also threw a little shade when they did it the couple times they went out, and I just wish they would have had a couple times where like, hey, this is XYZ, this is like, I would just love to see a little bit more history behind it, but I get that this is a Bravo show and not History Channel, but like, also I'm like, that exposure to that island is huge, so I would have just loved to seen like them being on the island a little bit more, and like kind of walking around and like going to more historic places and doing one tour. Even Housewives of Atlanta do it. Like when they travel, like they'll do one historic tour, and it's like, oh, this is cool.
Well, they did a couple, but I know what you mean. Like they were kind of like so independent of the actual story, that it read a little bit more like tourism. Like, this is how we're going to advertised than it did, like, you know, but I did also appreciate the little nuggets of history that, you know, some of them would say just in regular conversation. Next year I would like to see some love connections. I want there to be people who are sincerely interested in maybe finding someone while they're there that is kind of the context of what Summer House is. And I think it would be cool to see, especially an all-black cast courting. as opposed to these independent relationships. And I know I sound 105 because I said courting. Okay, I meant dating. Um, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see there being, some relationships where it's like this cast member brought this person and another cast member brought a different person, and maybe they're trying to feel each other out. So I want to see those types of progressions. I think that it'll bring another dynamic to the show. That's what Summer House is.
Oh, I've never watched anything
Yes,
else.
it's not like...
I just think Summer House, I'm like, just flings. That's what my assumption is. It's summer.
Yes, it can be flings. I'm not saying everyone needs to get married like Jasmine was trying to pair and marry everybody off. I'm just simply saying it would be an interesting dynamic to see people, trying to see if there's a love connection, except as opposed to like three guys trying to make a love connection off of one girl who walks through the door. I'd like to see there being more reciprocation. I would also like to see an even nicer house, although this house was great. I want to see a house where there is an actual dinner table that seats everyone who's living in the house, because this cast, more than most any other cast on television, actually did a bunch of family dinners, and I want to see the house to be able to accommodate that, because that's something that I think is very reflective of culture and history, of the idea that when one person's eating, we all get fed, we break bread together, and that's how we show community and love. And I want that shown on the table in the summer house. So there needs to be a seat for everybody who lives there. Final thoughts?
Yeah, thanks for putting me on this show. I didn't know I needed it in my life. Definitely changed my life for the better.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I think it was a good show. I was definitely entertained throughout it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to season 2.
I'm looking forward to season 2. Yay! We got Ebonie! Summer House, Martha's Vineyard on Bravo. We have gone through all of our thoughts and feels and emotions and all of those things. But y'all, we have to support this show. We have to continue to support this show. So let us know what your thoughts and feelings are after you decide to binge, just like Ebonie did. I'm so excited. And also, if you are on the Summer House Martha's Vineyard cast, I look forward to seeing you at BravoCon this year, because I got questions. You gonna come to BravoCon too?
Yeah, why not?
Okay,
what else I got going on?
We're gonna... Peter, you think we can get her in as a grip?
Yeah.
We're gonna get Ebonie in as a grip.
I'm asking all the questions. I hope Mariah's there. I give her a hug. I hope the other two aren't.
We hope so too. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. Give us a holler, or give me a holler on social media. Also, if you're listening to this on the podcast, there are visuals. So if you want to hang out with Ebonie and I in the She Shed lobby, I guess that's what we're calling it right now. I don't know. We need a new name. Then hit us up on the YouTube channel or hit me up on social media. Talk to you next time.
Peace.
Bye.